Hello everybody. Today I'd like to go over the course design, and just some of the thought process and the steps that I took to actually create to translate these golf courses, really, because they're all based on actual golf courses. So we take this one, for example. I've done a few already. I've done Augusta, I've done Sawgrass, St. Andrews, Pinehurst, number 2, and Pebble Beach. So I've done a few of them already. And of course, the blessing of the internet is that it's not hard to find all this information. And there's really not a lot of information that you really need to get to be able to translate it to courses and clubs. So, for example, you have here's Sawgrass, and of course, being a narrative game, that there has to be a bit of to take certain little liberties with some of the results that happen during the hole, because perhaps it's not 100% accurate, but at least it gives you kind of the general experience of what it'd be like to play that hole in more of an imaginary setting. So the Sawgrass, for example, I just went online and I actually just looked up the golf course itself, and it gives you really detailed information. There's overhead map. There is describes the actual fairway, some of the challenges of the hole, challenges of the greens, the distance to the front of the green and the back of the green, the par, of course. So the information is it's all there for you. The main things I had to focus on was really the green difficulty, getting as close as I could to the yardage ranges of the actual hazards that may exist on the holes. And that's really about it. The reasoning behind if I made it a level green, a slopes, or a tricky is really just as it says. It's a level green, so it doesn't have any slopes, any hard extreme angled slopes, really, because that's all. Slopes would just be, it has some gentle sloping throughout the green, and tricky essentially is just more extreme slopes that perhaps exist on the green itself. The game rules, they walk you, when they're walking you through, and it's to be determined whether or not, if your ball lie after your stroke is on the fairway, it's on the rough, it's in a bunker, because a lot of times what happens is that when you're going through your stroke through the rule steps, it will tell you, oh, check if there's a bunker in this range. If there's no bunker, go to another rule. Is there water in that range? Is there no water? Well, then you're in the rough. And that's generally how it is through most holes, but there are some extreme cases. Like, for example, on Sawgrass, there is the 17th hole, the famous 17th hole where the green is on an island. And that's where the notes portion, the additional, this is where you would find the any sort of special instructions to be able to play certain holes that maybe have some more dramatic differences than you'd find in a lot of holes on a golf course. Like I was saying, number 17 on Sawgrass, where the green is on an island. So under the additional portion of it, it would state here, for example, any stroke that receives a fairway or rough result from 15 to 177 yards from the tee off has a ball lie of water. So that's some of the ways. The additional is one of it allows you to really to make the hole its own very unique experience, and you can take that as far as you like. So that allows you to be able to do things like that, where you could be able to have a hole in courses and clubs where it is closer to the real thing of the actual hole, is including it in the additional notes. Now the tee off ease factor. So it's a 7 ease factor, and that just fell in line with the mathematics that I discovered, the percentile chances of professional players hitting the fairway, and ease factor 7 was provided the best outcome on the tables to achieve that percentage that the average pro hits a fairway, with then making it some incremental differences for players with better or worse skill for teeing off. But you may notice here, for example, tee off ease factor. This one here has a tee off ease factor of 6. And once again, in the additional notes, though, over here it says, it tells you why. It's a narrow fairway, but if you're using a club with 270 or less average on tee off, then the ease factor would be 7 instead of 6. So, and then this one here, for example, number 11 at Augusta, a downhill fairway. So if your tee off stroke ends on fairway, you get to roll a D10 for 10 D10 more yards. So that's just a nice way to be able to, the additional notes allows it to make it much easier to kind of customize your hole and make it perhaps a little closer to the real thing. Gotta doctor this up. This is an old copy of the hole. And really from there, it's not, you can see how that it's really simple to be, if you have the information, you can go online and find your local golf course, for example. Like there's a golf course here in town that I started translating over just because, well, I have all the information. I have the and really I just got it online. So any golf course you want in the world that's available online, it can provide you the general outline of the hole and the distances to the front and back green, the general idea of the bunker, where the bunker locations are, because you can just eyeball it for some things as well if you can't find the exact yardage. So it's not hard to to go ahead and do this yourself and and you can even just create your own holes if you want. Generally a golf course, if you want to keep with that sort of format, has mostly par 4s with a couple of par 3s and maybe 3 par 5s. So it'd be very easy for you to create your own course. So you can make it as crazy and wild as you want. And like I said, the additional notes would allow you to really give it that unique kind of character and allow it to be really strange and put in some really different sort of challenges even within the hole. So yeah, for example, here's another one on Sawgrass, number 13 hole, small fairway. So any stroke that receives a fairway result from yards 1 to 152 yards from tee off has a ball lie of rough. So even if you got the result of fairway in your stroke, you would get rough instead if your hit fell within the yardage of 1 to 152 yards. So anyway, that's really about it for the courses. It's really not that difficult. If you have the information, which, thanks to the internet, it's really easy to find, and just using your own imagination, really, you can come up with some very creative designs. The game itself is going to come with the translations of the 5 courses I mentioned. So Sawgrass, Augusta, St. Andrews, Pinehurst, number 2, and Pebble Beach. So that's really about it. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. But besides that, that is an overview of the courses for courses and clubs. So thanks for watching. Take care, and bye-bye for now.